being a landlord in the province of British Columbia is still a profitable endeavor, one that is worth exploring if you're looking to secure your financial future through owning real estate. The past experiences of many landlords went a little bit like this. You simply bought a property, you then rented that property out, raise the rents as necessary, and then eventually, when you no longer needed the rental or you wanted to get out of the market, you sold that property, ideally for a profit. This is how so many people made money through real estate, just by owning rental properties and providing shelters to people that may have otherwise not been able to afford them. And this was often seen as one of the most secure investments there is out there, just buying and owning real estate. And some people make really big money in this space. To give you an example, condominiums in the city of Surrey in January of 2019 were worth approximately $386,000, but just 5 short years later were worth $153,000 more. That's cold hard cash. And of course, fluctuations in the market have happened all throughout that time period. But normally a landlord would just simply ride out those fluctuations until it made sense to sell the property to get their money out. This was considered the comfort zone, an area where many landlords thrived and had their dreams of property ownership, property growth, and eventually getting out of the property market as a landlord really started to pay off. While in many cases, rent didn't necessarily cover all of the expenses that the landlord incurred to carry the property and rent it out, the value of the increased equity through market gains was happening quietly in the background. It was the perfect environment where vacancy rates were low, mortgage rates were low, and demand for rentals was high. Here's where this beautiful story for landlords starts to crumble a little bit. Things like increasing mortgage rates, increasing inflation across the board on absolutely everything, increased property taxes, and increases in the capital gains that a landlord pays when they sell the property. Well, this is making being a landlord seem much less attractive. These increasing costs are driving landlords out of the rental market in droves, and this in fact makes it even more difficult for tenants to find affordable and appropriate housing options due to having less rentals available on the market. So that left me with a question that we're going to explore in today's video a little bit. And we're going to use some examples from the city of Surrey in this video. But is being a landlord in BC, well, is it still profitable? And is it still worth your time, money, and investment? Is it even worth it anymore? And is it as profitable as it once was in the past? And I know exactly what you're thinking, especially if you're a tenant watching this video. And I want you to pay careful attention to some of the key messages in here. Number one, we have seen this with almost all of our investor clients exiting the market due to increased costs in carrying the property, not wanting to subsidize the rent for a tenant. On top of rising costs, however, they also fear the overreaching changes to tenancy laws that have disrupted this once profitable model. This plus landlords have been absolutely vilified to all look like money-hungry, greedy capitalists rather than contributing members of society, providing homes for those who cannot or choose not to purchase them. This is validated by a 2023 UBC housing research study showing BC had the highest rate of evictions in the country for reasons such as landlords needing to use the property themselves, selling it, or demolishing and renovating. Some experts say being a landlord is still profitable under certain conditions, while others might argue that it's becoming much more difficult to have that be true. And if you're someone out there watching this where hearing the word profitable when it relates to landlords making money off of hard-working tenants, lean in and stay with me in this video. I will explain at the end of this video why having a profitable tenancy market is absolutely crucial to having a healthy and thriving rental market, as well as a healthy and thriving real estate market. So if that all sounds good and you want to learn exactly what this video is about, well, let's get into it. So today's video is all about being a landlord and really whether it's still profitable. Landlords really face a new reality. Some have decided to continue, despite the challenges, renting out their properties and hoping for continued price growth, albeit it's been flat in the last 2 years. And really, there's still a ton of renters in the market, whether they choose to or they must out of necessity. In 2021, the census shared that 660,000 people in the province of BC were renters, surely up since then, and definitely looking forward to the next set of numbers when the 2026 census is released. But there's also those who have decided to leave the rental market entirely. They are landlords. Landlords who don't see a future in the rental market and have decided to invest their money just elsewhere, anywhere but within the real estate market. I want to paint you an example of why they might be doing this. Rental website Zumper estimates that a 2-bedroom condominium in the city of Surrey rents for approximately $2,505 per month. Taking sales of all 2-bedroom condominiums in Surrey from the last 30 days, I found that the median price of a 2-bedroom condominium was about $589,000. Now, adding on some fees that we can't escape when we own property, like strata fees at a very reasonable $400 per month, and property taxes of roughly $200 per month. Can't forget about insurance at $30 per month, and just generally taking the prevailing mortgage rate of, let's call it 4.4% for a 3-year fixed 25-year amortization mortgage. Well, this comes in at $2,592.41 per month. So if you're following along at home and got your calculator out like a good little student, this is a total of approximately $3,222 per month of expenses that a landlord incurs just to rent out their suite in Surrey. And that's a shortfall of about $720 per month compared to the average rental amount. Now, the tenants at home watching this are absolutely screaming and shaking the screen saying, well, what if they bought it back years ago and they've had increased equity gains? That is not the same scenario. Well, I want you to hear 2 key points on this. The first is the landlord made strategic financial decisions, chose to take on risk, not knowing what would happen in the future, and invested their money wisely in the property, which led to their equity growth. It certainly is not fair to the landlord to penalize them for making responsible choices to secure their future. But here's point number 2. You might be missing the bigger point here. You're concerned about people who have owned their property for years still remaining as landlords. Well, based on the numbers that I just showed you, how many people do you think are interested in getting into the rental market if they're taking a $720 loss each and every month? Do you see an issue getting new landlords to enter into the market to provide rental spaces for tenants? I do. Landlords face ongoing challenges, dealing with things like new tenancy rules, unexpected costs, or issues with just generally finding good tenants. And while there's some positive trends happening, such as high demand for rental properties due to population growth, and the fact that the city's growing infrastructure could be an opportunity for would-be investors, they've also got a lot of challenges, like provincial policies highly favorable towards tenants, or the simple cost of owning and maintaining a rental unit in today's current environment. So, landlords watching, this is your point of reckoning in this video. For those still renting out their properties, does this mean that you have to adjust your business model somehow? Or have you hit a wall where profitability is just simply unsustainable? Sure, over time, rental prices in Surrey have risen, but landlord costs have certainly outpaced these increases. I want to give you one more example of what I mean here. The website Zumper states that rent prices for those same 2-bedroom condominiums in Surrey have actually dropped about 5% year over year. Contrast that with in the city of Surrey, property taxes were up 12.5% in 2023 and 7% in 2024. For someone that took a 3-year fixed mortgage in October of 2021, their interest rate would have been 1.53%. However, taking a 3-year mortgage today, you're looking at a 3-year fixed mortgage rate of approximately 4.54%. That is a 196% increase in mortgage amount in just 3 years. And add to that, that as of September of this year, inflation in British Columbia came in at 2.4%, which was the highest in all of Canada. This is why costs are outpacing rental increases. And this video is not to get into all the changes that have happened with residential tenancies in British Columbia. That's for a different video. In fact, we did a video on that. You'll see right here that I will also link below in the description. So if you are a landlord watching this, you definitely want to check that one out. And while you're down there looking for it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on anything to do with real estate in Surrey, British Columbia, White Rock, British Columbia, or anything going on in the wild and crazy world of BC real estate. Anyways, let's get back to it. So the question for you, Mr. or Mrs. Landlord, is do you hold on tight and continue to invest, or do you simply bail out? You know, it's not all necessarily dark clouds and bad. Surrey condos did grow $343,000 from January 2014 to January 2024. Over the course of 10 years, that was a pace of almost $2,860 per month. But the question is, will the future repeat the past? You know, we've never been in an environment where we have had a government, both provincially and federally, so focused on not only making homes more affordable, which is a great thing, but also having a conversation at such high levels about adding new homes to the market, constructing homes for all the people that want to call not only British Columbia, but also Canada home. So for those who decide to stay in the market, potential rewards might include things like capital appreciation, just like it has over the last 10 years, increased rental income, pending you have a vacant property and you're able to put a market rent on that property, or possibly even the new opportunities created by the population growth that is due to come to the lower mainland. But for those who decide to exit the rental market, well, you stand to gain as well. You might find better financial stability in other investments elsewhere, and you don't have all the stress of managing a rental property and being a landlord. So my question for you, and I'd love you to leave a comment below this video, is what should you do if you're a landlord? If you own property anywhere in British Columbia that you are renting out to someone, is it still profitable? And I'd love to hear a tenant's perspective on this video as well. Knowing the cost of what it takes to own a rental property in today's market versus what the rents are actually going for, what are your thoughts on new landlords entering the market? I'm sure we don't want the government controlling all of the rentals. I'm not even sure how that would look, but I definitely know that we want mom and pop type investors who own rental properties, which is a large portion of the people that own rental properties in Metro Vancouver, to remain in the market. And I promised you at the start of this video that I would explain why having a profitable tenancy market is important to the greater health of not only the tenancy market, but the real estate market in general. And here's why. First of all, it incentivizes investments. Landlords and property investors are more likely to enter and remain in the rental market if they can expect a reasonable return on their investment. Profitability allows them to maintain, upgrade, and expand their properties, ensuring that housing supply keeps pace with demand. If profitability is eroded, investors may withdraw, reducing the supply of rental properties and increasing competition among tenants, which can drive rents even higher. It also helps maintain property quality, supports a balanced market, and a stable and profitable rental market contributes to economic stability by supporting job creation in property management, construction, maintenance, and related industries. It also helps balance housing costs, preventing extreme price fluctuations that could make both buying and renting unaffordable for many. And even though it might not seem like it, it also supports housing affordability. So there you have it. For some landlords, it is an opportunity waiting in the wings to possibly remain in the market, but for others, well, it might make more sense to get out. I'm gonna let you decide that for yourself, which is the best answer, but I am gonna encourage you to check out this video coming up next so you can learn all about what is happening with the current residential tenancy laws in British Columbia so you are not caught off guard. That's coming up next. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.